I just put a queen in here about a week ago, maybe 4 days ago, 5 days ago. And so what I'm going to be doing now is going in there and seeing if the queen is released and if she's, you know, hopefully laying some eggs. I don't know. So what I'm doing, I'm getting an idea what the wind is like. It's out of the east and it's blowing right now. And I've been watching it on my, I bought this little $30 anemometer, and it measures the wind speed. And I got it on Amazon. It really works good. It shows the temperature too, but it shows the wind about 2.3, about 2 miles an hour, a little over 2 miles an hour, as you can see right here. And what I'm going to do is going to go back where my hives are. Since the wind's out of the east, I might get a little wind protection back there because it's pretty cold today. It's not really warm enough to work my bees, but we're going to give it a try. I got to check on a queen. Really not turning because the wind's out of the east blowing this way and that building is blocking it. Now I noticed the temperature, I just brought this out of the house and I noticed that the temperature does not equal what it really is by me just bringing it out here from indoors, because if I look at my weather station, it says 53.2. And this is going down, but it started up in the 60s from bringing it in here from outdoors. But it is pretty handy if you want to check the wind and just to walk around and see what the wind's doing with this little $30 wind meter. I find it helpful, especially if you want to move hives around and find a place that's not very windy. Pretty handy to have this. What we're doing now, this hive does not have any brood in it, so we're not going to be killing any capped over pupae in the cold weather at 53 degrees, I think. And so this is my feeding area that I'm feeding my bees in, and I put some insulation in there because it has been below freezing at night. And I don't expect it to stay this way very long, but that's what I've got to deal with. So let's just move this out of the way temporarily. They are eating, consuming some sugar water. You know, not a lot because it has been cooler, but they are consuming it. In just a few days, they've eaten almost two pints. But anyway, we're going to take this off, and 53 degrees is not ideal. I am going to be checking all my queens in my yard here, and I got my work cut out for me because it's a race against the cold weather. So I'm going to have to, tomorrow it's going to be 63 to 64 degrees. So tomorrow looks better, sunnier. It's cloudy today and kind of cold. A slight drizzle or a little bit of rain every now and again. But this is going to give us a chance to see if our queen's out. If not, if I don't see her anywhere, I'm going to put another one in there. I've got a handful or more to test. 53 degrees. Let's see if we got a queen that's been released yet. We put her in the top deep here. Now this time of the year, when it's 53 degrees and it's October the 25th, and we had a low last night, dipping below freezing again, propolis is pretty sticky. And you can see what the winter cluster looks like when it's cold. And so this hive is queenless. We're trying to get it queen right before winter. Maybe a lost cause. I've thought a lot about it. And to be honest with you, I'm a little worried because I don't think they'll be able to lay eggs, get any winter bees built up. And so it's going to be a tough hive to get through the winter. I think what we'll look for first is the cage. And I think I'll just do what I did to insert it. I think I'll remove this frame here because I've kind of got it moving. I think it was still... propolis probably hasn't got real sticky on it yet. That's good. So that'll give us a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah, I could combine this with other hives, but I'll tell you, the weather is not cooperative, and I always like to experiment. One thing about me is I like to try to see how things work out if I do things a little differently. So instead of combining it, can I requeen it late in the year and have any results of them overwintering? What we'll do is we'll move these frames and get to the queen cage of the new queen I gave them. and we'll see that if she got out, did they accept her? Probably a little early for her to be laying just yet, given the situations and all, but that'd be great if we saw eggs. And I am fully suited up. Bees can be a little cantankerous when they're not foraging and they're all at home and you're disturbing their house in kind of on a cold day. Yeah, that propolis is like concrete. It is hard. It is hard propolis. All right, let's smoke again. How you guys doing today? All of you aren't experiencing what we're experiencing up in the Midwest and the North. A lot of people are going through some unexpected or, kind of surprise cold weather. I'm not unexpected, but it's like we didn't want it to happen this fast. I don't think any of us were kind of like ready for it. All right, I got my queen cage located right here, and there it is. And the candy is gone. I made my own candy. I've got a video that shows you how to make queen candy really good. And I've sold queens for years, and making sure the queen's not still lingering around in there. And usually it's just some worker bees in there. I'll look down in there and see if I see a blue dot. Here comes one. That's the worker. Here comes the other one. Okay, there was just 2 workers in there, but I wanted to be sure. All right. So let's don't smoke horribly and drive the queen to the bottom deep. Otherwise, it'd be hard to find her without doing a lot of frame manipulation. Again, not much cap brood at all. We don't have to worry about freezing out the cap brood, but let's pull up the frame right here. Seems like a likely candidate, this one or the one next to it, to spot a queen with a blue dot on her. That is one heavy frame. All right, I'm looking at a capped over frame of honey with no blue dot on this side. And no blue dot on that side. I kind of like leaving this one out, just for 2 reasons. Gives me more room, and the queen won't jump onto that when I put it back in there if she's on a nearby frame. I'm going to give this space a little more room right here. Come on, blue dot. Shoot, no blue dot there. Thought she'd be hanging around sort of like the frames near where she was. And I don't have to worry about robbing because no bees are flying. It's so cold. All right, we'll get some smoke going around the house here. So I want to tell you, if I don't see my queen in here, I'm going to drop another one in here. I knew I'd have to probably put in more than 1 queen to get a queen right. So I got plenty of queens on hand to put them in there. Here we go. Let's get this off. Let's set it down here temporarily. Got to the bottom deep easily. All right. I think she would be on this middle frame. So let's see if we can wiggle it loose with that hard propolis. Alrighty. Oh, there's some, I don't see a blue dotted queen. Saw a small hive beetle, but I do see some open cells where a queen could lay. Now, it could be that I had a virgin queen that was mating, and that she may have gotten mated and she could be in here. So that's why I'm looking a little more slowly to see, could I see an unmarked queen? Sometimes it's just hard to get a queen to be accepted by a hive. Well, you can see here they're burning through, they're opening up these frames and eating them. That's why I always let you know that you got to feed your bees in the wintertime because they're devouring this food. You can see where it's capped over toward the edge, but then they're opening the caps and consuming it. Look at that. All right, let's look at another frame or so. Not giving up on this hive, people. Oof. Not going to give up. Not giving up without a fight. I could move some frames over with some cat brood, but it's so late in the game. I gotta keep thinking to look for an unmarked queen. They're hovering over pupae here, keeping it warm. Again, if I saw eggs, I'd be happy. Here's a pupae by my finger, see it there? So they need to keep it warm. I don't want to keep this out too long. No queen is on that side of the frame. We got more pupae over here. All right, let's look for a queen or a blue dot. No, not seeing anything. Oh, larvae though. Hang on. You see that larvae that's about 7 days old next to the cat brood? Interesting. I saw eggs, which is very good. There are single eggs on the bottom of each cell. This is still a bit of a mystery. Now there's a lot of bees on this side, and I could have a queen on this side here, right? But it's just so cold that the bees are just kind of clumped together. So one of the things you can do is you can try to gently smoke them to bust up the crowd a little bit. And then you might be able to spot either the blue queen. Oh, okay. I saw a queen. Do you see her right there? But it's a queen, and she's laying eggs. Now, I'm not going to mark her. I'm just going to put her back in the hive down here. Gently. All right, good. Well, we don't have to give them a queen. We feel good about this queen in there because of the eggs. And there is some brood, so a little better condition than I thought. Okay, wasted a queen there. So they were in the making of a queen, a virgin queen. Last time I looked, probably walking around, looked around, we saw eggs today. So kind of like, hallelujah, we're going to be okay now. All right, let's put these frames that are more open for where that queen's going to lay right here. All right, perfect. I'm going to smoke, disperse the bees because it's a tight fit. Yeah, that's good. Let's see if I can spread that out a little bit. Let's smoke everybody and get this hive back together now. Bees are off of the frame pretty good. Now, they're loud, but they're queen right. But they still don't have what I like to see bees have going into winter, a lot of frames of brood. So they're shy on bees of winter physiology, maybe. Some of these bees that were raised late probably are winter physiology. Fingers crossed, that's all we can do. Feed the heck out of them. Hope that queen will keep them going all winter. Now let's lift this full, deep of honey and put it back above where the bees and the brood is down below. And this is, I assure you, it's just 10 solid frames of honey. They will not need fed this winter. When they already had a queen going, and obviously there's some larvae, they're never going to accept a new queen. There's another frame of bees coming in. Good. And then one that doesn't have a lot of resources on it, let's put it near the wall. I'm using this big leverage bar to move frames on a cold day. A little stiffer, a little more strong. Oh yeah. Beekeeping is, there's never a dull moment, is there, in beekeeping? There's always, if you have any experience at all with bees, you've learned pretty quickly that there's always a problem somewhere. Something's usually wrong. Yeah. This is going to be a tight fit, but we're going to smoke and cowboy up and pound it in. All right, I got that in there back where it should be. Let's put our honey super on. Alrighty. Honey super's back on. Let's put our feeder board back on. Here we go. All right, let's put our feeder jars back on. They need to be refilled, don't they? All right, let's put our box that surrounds them back on. They have plenty of food on board. I'm not worried about feeding them too much, but if you have liquid food on there, what I've noticed is it really does help with brood production. So they don't have to go up and open up honey. They can use, especially if you have the additives in it, it's going to help them raise brood, because they really need substances close to bee bread to raise brood. It helps them to have a lot of protein. And I'm going to be switching to the winter bee kind board. Not yet. No, it's way too early, but probably in December. If you want to watch a video that's really good to help you guys understand what you should be doing in this last minute, like I'm doing now before it turns cold, and it's a live stream. So, but it's a replay of the live stream. It'll get your appetite whet to watch my live streams every Thursday. Watch it right here. I'll meet you guys over there.